Tonight, we're launching a new segment we're calling The Smart Money. It is a weekly look at the most interesting and important developments in the prediction markets. Now, these markets are increasingly popular. They're exchanges where people like you and me can take positions on the outcomes of current events. And in recent years, signals from these markets, the so-called wisdom of the crowd, have frequently proven more accurate than traditional polling. Kalshi is the only exchange where Americans can currently trade on everything from elections to the weather. And they have alerted us to some of the most noteworthy action this week. Are the markets telling us what's about to happen? Here's Hena Doba to tell us where the smart money is trending.
The war is going to end. When it ends, I can't tell you.
When news happens, the prediction markets move. And this week saw abundant volatility surrounding the world's top story, the war in Ukraine.
We need to stop this war to stop Russia.
The question, will Vladimir Putin meet with Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky before next January 1st? It's been a top trending event. The market spiked on Monday after the gathering of European leaders at the White House, traders putting the odds at 70%.
I believe you have two willing parties, and usually that's good news.
But as the week wore on, that bubble deflated. Adi Rajapakaran, a professional prediction markets trader, explains.
I think this is a great example of markets incorporating the news extremely quickly. And this is just the reality of people who are very incentivized to react very quickly and get the best price and trade as soon as the news comes out.
On the domestic front, there were some potentially foreboding market developments for FBI Director Kash Patel. The market for who will leave their role in the Trump administration this year saw a surge of traders betting it would be Patel. That's interesting, as Patel's name was not in the headlines much this week. So what happened?
This is probably just because Trump is very furious with how the Epstein case was handled. It's just like, why don't you just pretend that nothing's there? You're pretending that there's fire. You're the smoke. So I think Trump is very annoyed at that.
And looking ahead to the 2028 presidential election, the markets are speaking clearly while the polls have been quiet. California Governor Gavin Newsom has been out front in the fight against the Trump administration's policies, getting directly involved in the redistricting battles and going scorched earth on the president with his posts on X. The markets seem to think that's a winning formula.
Looking at that graph, he's really spiked since June. Is it because one of the factors he's been trolling President Trump on social media?
Newsom has been slowly climbing up in his price, and I think it's because he's the most actively and obviously trying to position himself for this. The big development is his antics on Twitter, where his press office has adopted a new strategy of basically trolling and mocking Trump. And so it's a wisdom of the crowds. And all it takes is some people to really think, oh, I think this strategy is going to work. And so let me buy Newsom, and that pushes the price up.
Will the markets get it right again? Nothing's certain, but that's a pretty good bet.
All right, one of the most fascinating things about the prediction markets is that they adjust in real time, which is unlike most polls, which take days, if not weeks, to release results. Just today, in fact, the odds of Kash Patel leaving the administration this year dipped back down into the low 20s. Perhaps the smart money believes the FBI director is suddenly in favor with President Trump, or better favor, after today's raid of John Bolton's home and the release of the Ghislaine Maxwell interview transcripts. Who knows?
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.